Good evening and welcome to the April 2023 meeting of the Omaha Public Power District Board of Directors. Thank you all for joining us in person at the Omaha Douglas Civic Center and remotely via WebEx. I hope you and your loved ones are staying safe and healthy. With me in person today are my fellow board members, Amanda Bogner, Mike Kavanaugh, Matt Core, Sarah Howard, Craig Moody, and Mary Spurgeon. Janice Molhoff is unable to attend the meeting today. We also have President and CEO Javier Fernandez, our General Counsel Steve Bruckner with the Fraser Stryker Law Firm, and members of our board meeting support staff. OPBD's executive leadership team and subject matter experts are also participating in today's meeting in person and via WebEx. Additionally, we currently have 18 members of the public at the one member of the public at the Civic Center and 18 members attending on WebEx. That sounds better. Consisting of OPBD employees and members of the public. As a reminder to board members, executive leadership team, and OPBD staff, please mute your microphone to reduce background noise. To members of the public, thank you for attending. You're in listen-only mode. If you have any technology questions, please use the chat feature in WebEx to communicate with the event host. If you are disconnected from the WebEx conference, we ask that you rejoin in the same manner as when you originally joined. I will now ask a member of OPBD's physical security team to provide the safety briefing for our location and for Javier Fernandez to provide other safety reminders.
Thank you and welcome to April's meeting. As we typically do, we'll start with a quick safety briefing, reference physical safety. We have emergency exits to both the right and left of the area here, stairwells that lead directly to the outside as well as down into the garage area. In the event of significant weather, which thankfully I don't think we'll have to worry about tonight, but if we did, we would use those stairwells to calmly go down into the garage area where we would take shelter. If we had to evacuate for a fire or any other reason, again, we'd use those stairwells and go to the exterior of the building. If anyone were to need any help here in our location, we do have available first aid equipment located in the back. We also have fire suppression and an AED located again at the stairwells. For those listening at home, we would highly recommend for everyone to have those same types of actions ready to go. So please make sure you have fire suppression and first aid equipment with you at your homes or any other remote locations. Typically, we find ourselves in the ERs for some very basic reasons. A lot of those are trips and falls, so also be aware of anything around in the environment that may cause that. And then finally, we always want to make sure that people are healthy and happy, so make sure that you're attending those doctor's appointments and taking care of yourselves. With that, thank you again, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Fernandez.
Thank you, Josh. I'm going to skip over to the psychological safety side of the screen. I talked on Tuesday about multiple perspectives as being a key element, a foundational element of psychological safety. These also aligns, as I was coming to the meeting today, I thought about how these aligns very well with our policy and our culture around diversity, equity, and inclusion. And it's about really respecting and acknowledging the multiple perspectives, the value that multiple perspectives bring to the table. Multiple disciplines, skills, backgrounds, opinions that make our debate and discussion and ultimately decisions richer and much better outcomes. So we encourage that, and I'm happy to report that that's embedded into the culture and how we try to conduct business at OPBD. Next slide, please. Our focus for April, controlling hazardous energy. We are in outage mode, planned outage mode for our generation facilities, and it's very, very important for us to remind all of our employees, and I'll take an opportunity to remind the members of the public of the hazards that we identify and around lockout, tag out, or hold order programs across the district. If there's hazardous energy present, and if you see a tag out, a lockout, any sign on any electrical equipment that says do not open, do not touch, it's there for a reason, and our personnel, our employees know exactly what they're doing when they put those out. As Josh mentioned, having a severe weather plan is important. He talked about where would we go today if we were in the middle of a meeting and we had to take shelter. It's equally important that you talk to your loved ones about what to do at home. Where would you go? What would you do? How would you behave? When you're on the road, when you're driving, if inclement weather catches you while driving, and it's important for us to also know what to do. So please have a plan. It's a good reminder to have a plan in place before you need it. And the last one is continuing to fight fatigue as weather warms out and our days stretch out. we tend to work a little longer, we play longer, we can get tired. It's important for us to identify signs of fatigue, hydrate well, rest well, so that we can perform our jobs safely every single day. That concludes my safety briefing.
Great, thanks very much. Now let's run through our guidelines for the conduct of the meeting. This regular board meeting will follow the agenda made available to the public on oppd.com. This meeting is being conducted in person with WebEx conferencing and is being recorded. Our board meetings have public comment periods on the agenda. Comments made by all parties during the meeting are part of the official public record. After the introduction of action items, board members will ask clarifying questions of staff, then I will ask for public comment. After public comment, the board will conduct its discussion of the matter and then vote. Also, before we adjourn, there will be an opportunity for other comment on other matters of district business. We'll take comments in the room first and then via WebEx. For in-person attendees, if you wish to make a comment, please line up behind the microphone in the center of the room. Please state your name, address, and the name of any organization or person you represent. Each individual will be allotted 3 minutes per matter pending. To assist you, we will use the timer that is located in the room. Ms. Lane will signal you when 30 seconds remain, as well as when time is up. If you have written materials, please deliver them to the OPPD representative in the room. Next, we will review the 2 options for WebEx attendees to notify us. Option 1, which is being displayed now, involves sending the meeting technology host a message using the chat feature, simply stating that you wish to speak.
Thank you, Chair Williams. For those of you who have joined us using a computer or WebEx mobile app, you will find a button in your WebEx interface to open the chat panel. Once opened, you may send your message to the meeting technology host. Requests to provide comments will be relayed to Chair Williams for recognition during the public comments section.
Option 2, which is being displayed now, involves the hand raise feature.
WebEx allows attendees to virtually raise their hand. You may use this feature to indicate to OPPD that you wish to be recognized to provide comments. The hand raise button can be found in the lower control bar of WebEx. After you've provided your comments, please press the hand raise button again to virtually lower your hand. And for those of you who have joined the meeting using only a telephone, WebEx has a hand raise feature that is activated by pressing *3 to raise and lower your hand. When we see your hand raised, we will acknowledge you by referencing a portion of your phone number. For example, caller with the phone number beginning in 402-123. If you wish to provide comments when recognized, please wait a brief moment to be unmuted and begin speaking. At this time, if you would like to try using the hand raise feature, please do so as a test.
I will allow plenty of time at each opportunity for public comment for members of the public to provide notification via WebEx. When I call on a member of the public to speak, our meeting technology host will unmute your microphone. Before commencing your comments, I suggest you first affirm that we can hear you. Please state your name and address, state the name of any organization or person you are representing. Organizations should choose 1 representative to speak on their behalf. Each individual will be allotted 3 minutes per matter pending at the discretion of the board. To assist you, we will display a timer on the WebEx screen to ensure each member of the public receives a consistent amount of time. Ms. Lane will signal you when you have 30 seconds remaining, as well as when time is up. For all attendees, please direct your comments to me. I will either respond to you directly or defer response to another board member or officer of the district. The board values and welcomes civil, respectful, clear, and concise communication from the public. During public comments, speakers should refrain from repetitious, profane, or irrelevant comments. Speakers shall refrain from polling the board, as such vote is not on the agenda and is prohibited by law. If you have any written materials, please email them to corporatesecretary@oppd.com, and they will be received on our behalf. For those at the Omaha Douglas Civic Center, please hand your materials to Ms. Lane. In summary, we will take in-room comments first, then WebEx comments, and then have a last call. Ms. Lane, will you please take the roll call?
Director Williams,
Here.
Director Bogner. Here. Director Kavanaugh,
Here.
Director Core,
Here.
Director Howard,
Here.
Director Moody,
Here.
Director Spurgeon.
Here.
Notice of the time and place of this meeting was publicized by notifying the area news media, by publicizing same in the Omaha World Herald, OPPD outlets newsletter, oppd.com, and social media, by displaying such notice on the arcade level of Energy Plaza, and by emailing such notice to each of the district's directors on April 14th, 2023. A copy of the proposed agenda for this meeting has been maintained on a current basis and is readily available for public inspection in the office of the district's corporate secretary. Additionally, a copy of the Open Meetings Act is available for inspection on oppd.com and in this meeting room. The board consent agenda items are as follows. Item 6, approval of the March 2023 meeting minutes and the April 20, 2023 agenda. Item 7, debt authorization, resolution numbers 6559 and 6560. Item number 8, NC1 reheater outlet header replacement material contract award, resolution number 6561. Item number 9, Bennington expansion substation and transmission structures, resolution number 6562. Item 10, 161-13813-8 kV 40/53/6775 MVA OLTC power transformer, resolution number 6563. Item number 11, SD4 reliability monitoring report, resolution number 6564. Item number 12, SD5 customer satisfaction monitoring report, resolution number 6565.
There are no corrections, changes, or additions to the consent agenda items. I need a motion and a second to approve these items.
So moved.
Second.
We discussed these items at the all-committee meeting on Tuesday, April 18th. Do any members of the public in the room have comments on these consent agenda items? If you'd like to make a comment, please come to the podium. I do not see anyone. Do any members of the public on WebEx have a comment? Please send a chat to the meeting host or use the hand raise feature in WebEx. Telephone users can press *3 to raise their hand. No comments from WebEx. Thank you all. Ms. Lane, can you please call the roll?
Director Williams,
Yes.
Director Bogner,
Yes.
Director Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Director Corr,
Yes.
Director Howard,
Yes.
Director Moody,
Yes.
Director Spurgeon.
Yes.
The board discussion action item is as follows. Decommissioning trust funding, resolution number 6566. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the Omaha Public Power District hereby approves a revised 2023 corporate operating plan nuclear decommissioning funding amount of $39.8 million.
Do we have a motion for the resolution?
So moved.
Oh, I move that we accept this.
And I'll second.
Thank you. Do we have any clarifying questions from staff on the resolution from any of the board members? Okay. Do any members of the public in the room have a comment on this action item? If you would like to make a comment, please come to the podium. Not see any. Do any members of the public on WebEx have a comment? Please send a chat to the meeting host or use the hand raise feature in WebEx. Telephone users can press *3 to raise their hand. No comments on WebEx? Great, thanks very much. Do we have any comments from members of the board on this resolution? Director Howard.
Thank you, Director Williams. So I have to apologize to my colleagues. I am the person who emailed after the meeting and said, hey, wait a minute, I think we should discuss it or at least have a little bit more discussion in our proper meeting as opposed to just the all committees meeting. It was one of those things where I got home and I sort of marinated on it a little bit because there were two things that really struck me when we were learning about this funding issue, or it's more like a funding blessing, I would say. One is that when they created this fund, it was in 1983, which is almost 40 years ago, right? And so that is incredible that 40 years ago, there was a board of directors for OPPD who thought this is going to be an issue and we need to start planning for it. And we need to be really mindful of that. And then I'm certain they didn't think 40 years later, there would be a board of directors that looks like us or thinks like us or has the challenges that this organization has now. And so I sort of wanted to take a moment of gratitude for whoever was on the board in 1983 because they did an incredible job. The other thing I wanted to sort of be mindful of is that the amount of money that is going to come back to OPPD's sort of general fund is a significant amount. And it's an amount of money that could do a lot of good in a lot of different areas. And our CEO was gracious enough to indicate that he intends to use it for capital and then for pensions. But I think there are a variety of district needs, and I want to make sure that I express my sincere interest and my sincere commitment to being a part of the process in terms of how we utilize those funds as a member of the Finance Committee. I don't want them to sort of go away into the ether. I think there's an opportunity here. And so I asked for it to come off just so that I could sort of state that for the record, both gratitude for previous boards and also sort of hope at the opportunity to participate in the decision-making process for these funds as a member of the Finance Committee. With that, I am complete. Thank you, Director Williams.
Great, thanks very much. Does anyone else have comments on this item?
Well, I will just add that this really is a very cheerful thing that has happened, and it happened because of a good agreement with the Federal Department of Energy, the DOE, for the reimbursement of allowable costs for managing and storing spent nuclear fuel and similar hazardous waste. Because they delayed in helping us figure out what to do with that, OPPD is now storing it and will store it for the foreseeable and maybe unforeseeable future. So because the district used a particular type of accounting, regulatory accounting, to make sure that the trust fund needs were covered all these 40 years, this is why a formal resolution is needed to say, okay, we're going to stop doing that now. We're going to do kind of a matching sort of funding thing annually to cover any costs that the Department of Energy doesn't sufficiently cover, according to the models that the financial people have run, to make sure that we are, at the end of this time, we're fine, we're good, that we have the money. So it's very good news, and it also just requires that we go through a certain channel to make sure that this is ended and the new process begins. Thank you.
Yes. Where are we at? Director Moody.
Yes,
There we
sorry.
go.
I didn't flag earlier that thank you for bringing this off of consent. It is a big deal, and it's not a common opportunity for us to have this kind of money available for us to do some of the things that we want to do. I'm leaning on my days on the governance committee a little bit here. I'm simply mindful of what our role as directors are with respect to this allocation of funds. I know when I find $20 that I had in my pocket that I didn't expect, I'm like, what could I go buy now? So I want to make sure that the board plays the right role in helping you as a CEO think about how to use those funds without the board stepping in and attempting to dictate how you're going to use those funds. We've got strategic directives. We've given a lot of direction to the CEO on what we want to do. So clearly there are perspectives on the board that I'm sure you're taking into account. I just want to make sure that we kind of stay focused on what our policies are. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Director Moody. And that great comment, and I think this is part of what I wanted to say. It's the board was very deliberate and very involved in approving a corporate operating plan that the entire organization benefits from. Right? This change is a change in funding mechanisms, but our expenditure plan remains the same. We have a tremendous amount of work in front of us, capital programs. We're building 2 new power plants, transmission infrastructure. We have a pension obligation that we need to meet. All of those expenditures are covered in the corporate operating plan. From my perspective, and until and unless the board changes that, the course is set already for how we're going to spend funds. What these reimbursement and this change in decommissioning funding brings to us is an opportunity for us to think differently about how we fund those expenditures. The board just approved via consent agenda the debt authorization. Very likely what will happen is we will use these additional funds to reduce the amount of debt we issue. Very welcome news. It's financially prudent. This is something that I have been very proud of OPPD since the day I joined, and it's its fiscal attention and being incredibly careful with the funds of our customer owners. So I'm very welcoming the direction from the finance committee and the board. I want to let the public know, and our members of the public here, we have a plan. We have a lot of work to do. It's certainly welcome news, and we will use those funds from my perspective as intended as approved by the board in the corporate operating plan.
Appreciate those comments. I also would like to echo Director Howard's comments about appreciation for staff and board in the past, as well as both the executive leadership team who outlined the plan that is being carried forward at Fort Calhoun that led to the situation, and the employees who have done such an excellent job, both in the operations and in seeking the reimbursement from DOEs that has put us in this position. So again, yes, this is an excellent situation. Thank you to everyone who's been so dedicated over so many years to put us in such a positive position that we are in now. I mentioned on Tuesday that I also am interested in the way in which the board is involved in the determination of how these funds will be used. We did review and approve a corporate operating plan that had both revenues and expenditures at the end of 2022 that we're operating under now in 2023. And this amount of money is a significant change to the total funding that was available for the capital plan. And so, again, I would echo what Director Howard said about a desire to see the Finance Committee be involved in the decision-making process about use of these funds. And I appreciate the comments from other board members and from CEO Fernandez about this, and I look forward to the Finance Committee helping to have those discussions as we move forward. I do believe that the corporate operating plan does highlight the appropriate priorities for the organization, but this is a change that is sufficient that I would like to see some discussion in the Finance Committee about how those changes are implemented, both with regards to the debt authorization that we just approved and other priorities. So appreciate the work that has been put into this, and I look forward to some ongoing discussion as the determination is made here. This doesn't change anything about the resolution. I do think that the comments from the board are just informative, and so I look forward to additional discussions in the future. With that, roll call, please.
Director Williams,
Yes.
Director Bogner,
Yes.
Director Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Director Corr,
Yes.
Director Howard,
Yes.
Director Moody,
Yes.
Director Spurgeon.
Yes.
Great. That completes the action items. And next up is the President's report. CEO Fernandez.
March baseload generation for our baseload fleet, as you can see it on the screen, Nebraska City Unit was at 46%, Nebraska City Unit 2 at 61%. As I mentioned earlier in the meeting, we are in planned outage mode. Nebraska City Unit 1 entered a scheduled 14-day maintenance outage at the end of March, on March 25th. So that's why you see a lower capacity factor for Nebraska City Unit 1. Nebraska City Unit 2 had a minor derate during the month of March, and that lowered a little bit of a capacity factor. Nebraska City Unit 2 has entered into the plant outage. It is offline today, but that happened in April, so I will report that next month. North Omaha 4 was in planned spring outage between March 4th and March 9th. When we finished that outage, the unit was put in a reserve shutdown until it was called back again by SPP, which didn't happen until March 13th. So virtually the plant was offline from the 4th of March to the 13th of March. That explains the lower capacity factor. Can you move back one slide? I'm still previous one. And North Omaha 5 was in a planned spring outage between March 17th and March 28th. That's why you see the lower capacity factor in there. Now, going into our balancing generation, you can see very little usage of our balancing generation, although when we use them, it's very important. It's during the most important times of the year. Cass County was available all time. It was not used, but it was ready and had 100% availability. Jones Street had less than 1% capacity factor. We ran those units just a few hours during the month. A reminder, North Omaha units 1, 2, and 3 run on gas. They have a capacity factor of 0 during the winter by design because there is no gas available to run those units during the winter time. And Sarpy County had a capacity factor of 2.5%. Renewables for March contributed 37.3% of OPPD's retail energy sales with a wind capacity factor of 44%. As days are getting a little longer, irradiance improves, and our capacity factor for community solar was 21%. It's higher than last month, and I expect next month to be higher as well. Good news, I want to highlight a few programs and rebates just for the benefit of the board and the public. Our energy efficiency assistance program has recently expanded to reach more customers. This is a fantastic news. Previously, this program was available only to homeowners. However, OPPD has improved the product to now include renters of single-family homes. This is a big deal, something that we've been talking with customer owners about, the needs to improve energy efficiency and lower electric bills, et cetera. So now, if there are certain eligibility requirements. Your household income has to be less than 200% of the federal poverty level. And now you can either own a home within the OPPD service territory, or you can rent a single-family home within our service territory and have written permission from the landlord or property owner. That last piece was really what was holding out the development of the program, but we've managed to figure out a way to make this work. This includes a free comprehensive in-home energy assessment performed by one of our program partners. This covers up to $2,000 in qualified energy efficiency improvement projects to the home, helping to make an impact on the customer's monthly utility bill, and therefore reducing energy usage. We don't do this alone. We have two partners, Habitat for Humanity of Omaha and the Southeast Nebraska Community Action Partnership. Our program partners, they perform the energy audits and project implementation. Customers can apply directly with these agencies based on the county they reside. And there's more information regarding this program that can also be found on their websites and our website. Next slide, please. It's getting to that time of the year. We're all getting ready for the summer. And as you're thinking about an HVAC tune-up, we want you to be aware that there's a rebate that OPPD offers. It's a $25 rebate that reimburses customers for the maintenance of HVAC equipment, which is on an annual basis. This is a value both to the customer and to OPPD. We want air conditioning units to work efficiently, and it lowers the bill for the customer, and it helps us also manage our energy supply. Regular maintenance can lead to prolonging life of the equipment while also providing energy efficiency savings. Customers are required to use an HVAC contractor to complete the tune-up, and the contractor will be required to complete a full 8-point checklist, which is provided by OPPD. Once it's completed, customers can apply for the rebate in a seamless process online, and they will get the rebate in time. Next slide, please. Another very exciting program that I want to share here. It's been an incredibly busy year, but the announcement here is the release of our residential solar rebates. The program was originally launched in 2022 as a pilot program to help us inform proper trade ally expectations and customer needs. We've talked about the Trade Ally program before, and it's working really well. These limited rebates sold out really early last year, and now are improved with a better experience for our customers. We held multiple behind-the-meter solar workshops last October with our customer owners for them to provide feedback on their preferences for products moving forward. The most repeated piece of feedback was our customers' desire for OPPD to act as the trusted energy partner in the customer-owned generation space. So we are very proud to help our community reach their net zero goals, and this latest product is a big step in the right direction. This revised program is offering a $2,000 rebate per system, per solar installation, per household, and it is available immediately. Upon installation and verification, you can apply online for your rebate. If you're interested in installing solar on your home, and let me emphasize that this is available when you work with one of our trade allies that we've been working with. They know the process, they know the safety features, they know how to install these. very important for us to make sure that all of these solar installations are done properly, so that we can have a safe system for our own employees. Next slide, please. Another great news. We reached a huge milestone. It's a program that has been going on for a while. In 2022, as we close out 2022, we exceeded the milestone for our smart thermostat program. As of December 31st, just shy of 13,000 customers were enrolled in this energy savings program, yielding nearly 6,000 megawatt hours of energy efficiency savings. This well exceeded our established goal of 10,000 customers. The program continues to grow, and coming up into April, we met close to 13,500 customers. The Smart Thermostat program now supports 5 different brands of thermostats, which we began with 1, and now we have 5 of them, and over 25 different device models. It's available to both residential and small to mid-sized business customers. In 2023, we are expecting a 17% growth on this program, totaling 2,000, almost 2,200 devices, bringing our total program, we believe, by the end of the year to about just shy of 15,000 customers. And I'm looking at Heather Siebken, and let's see if we can exceed that goal. When we reach this goal, this will result in a program total of 24 megawatt demand response. 24 megawatts that we can shave off of our peak load on the hottest days of the year, that would help us manage our system better. It's important, it's significant, and we're celebrating that. It also generates a energy efficiency of 6,785 megawatt hours, and this is a capacity value that could be valued at over $1.1 million. So great for the customer, great for OPPD, and very important for us to celebrate this milestone. The last milestone I want to talk about before I give the mic to Heather Siebken to talk a little bit about the customer strategic initiative. I mentioned the Bright Project commercial operation in the past. These started on March 22nd with a final completion occurring in late April. I'm going to say this carefully, it's only a 1 megawatt battery. And I say only because there are other systems that have more megawatts, but it is an incredibly important 1 megawatt battery in our system. It marks a big milestone for OPPD, as we are now managing and implementing all the technology, all the changes in processes that a battery operation mean in our system. This provides OPPD the opportunity to learn for battery technology capabilities with possible intentions for future installations. The project supports a multi-year warranty, allowing OPPD to learn from those already in this space when it comes to maintenance and operations. This particular array, it takes 2 hours to fully charge the battery and another 2 hours to fully discharge the battery. For ease of just context, each discharge can power nearly 75 homes at a time. At this point, I want to invite Heather Siebken, our Director of Product Development and Marketing. As you all remember, we used to have 5 strategic initiatives that we were working on, and we've been working on those for a few years. Every time we have an update, or whenever we close out a strategic initiative, I've made a priority to notify the board and give a briefing. This is the last of the 5 strategic initiatives that was completed a few weeks ago, and I have Heather Siebken here to talk about what we learned and what the plans are that are coming out of the strategic initiative. It's super, super exciting. One thing that I learned, one of many things that I learned, is our customer owners are satisfied with their energy when they flip a switch and the light comes on. That's the very basic expectation. But there are many, many other moments in their year that matter. The moments that matter is really what this is all about. It's every single interaction, every opportunity we have to interact with customers to improve their experience with OPPD. It's what this is all about. So Heather, do you want to talk about the closure of the strategic initiative?
Absolutely. Thank you, Javier. And as said, I'm Heather Siebken, the Director of Product Development and Marketing, and I was the strategic initiative lead of the Customer Engagement for the Future project. And I'm beyond honored to be able to provide some closure to this project today to each of you, as well as to our customers who are hopefully tuned in and listening as well. If you want to go ahead and move to the next slide. Thank you. So the customer engagement for the future project, it's moving forward, and I will just start like customer engagement started for me on my third day of employment at OPPD. But most specifically, over the last couple of years, as it was formulated into a project with a lot of team members across the district, really to create these solutions. We came together with really one goal, and that was advocacy. How do we get our customers to be advocates of our brand, the products and services that we have, the decisions we make, the commodity that we provide to them? How do we make that into a relationship, right? And you'll see here in a second, there's some general things that we do. We provide service, we improve our experience, but we need to take it a step beyond that. And we really have to build that relationship with our customers. You know, the good, the bad, and all the in between, the relationship you have with the, with the individuals is really what matters. The team did this through a very large, deep dive, a lot of research, but really focusing on what do we need to do inside? How do we get the organization ready for it? What do we need to do with data and technology? And then what do we need to do on the outside? How do we prepare our customers? What sort of tactics do we need to take? How do we engage with them and invite them in a different way that we've done forward? And so today, as Javier alluded to, I'm happy to announce the executive leadership team has approved our recommendation of ideas and is allowing us to now move forward into what we call the execution phase. So there's been some execution on things along the way, but this will really allow us to put some staff efforts towards let's make a difference for the future of our customers and the organization as a whole. So if you want to go forward a slide, sorry. And you can flip through the animations and pull those all up. I didn't realize they were there. So we really need to start looking at like connecting our efforts. And so as I mentioned, today we have some basic things that we do with our customers. We provide a service, right? We turn on power for them. We maybe complete some line extensions. We help them pay their bills. There is service that we do. Along the way, we are always looking at the experience. How is that experience of that service a positive one? How are they leaving with a smile on their face, right? How are they leaving saying, that was a decent experience. I wouldn't mind going back and dealing with them again. And we've all been there, right? Where it's like, maybe we've had decent service, but gosh, that experience was really not that great. And we also have a wonderful outreach function, right? Where we've got big decisions that we need to make and we need to hear from our public. And so there's a fantastic function in which we go out and we get their knowledge, their desires, their wishes, and we bring it all back to help us make decisions. And so what I'm here to say is, our plan moving forward is connecting those efforts, not just in, I will say, traditional customer service roles, but throughout the entire enterprise and saying, we've got to take that up a notch. You can have good transactions. You can have a great experience. We can do all of the outreach, but it doesn't guarantee that we've built the relationship with them. And so that's why I say it's the moments in between as much as it's also the moments that matter, right? Between those big decisions, how are we engaging them? How are we engaging them when really just nothing matters, right? When there isn't a big topic at hand? How are we ensuring that we're hearing their voice on a constant basis and a regular stream of interaction? I often use the example of it can't be a two-way street, right? We're asking a question and you're replying. It is almost like an infinity loop. It just never ends. It's just constant conversation, constant chatter. That's what a relationship is really about. If you want to go ahead and move forward to the next slide. So with that, there's a lot to do. A lot. And we know that. We're doing some really good work today, but we also know that we need to make some investments in some, digital front-facing technology for our customers to improve that experience. We've got to make some investments in data and knowledge of how we can begin making those relationships more personable for them and beyond. And so there's a roadmap here in front of you. It's a very quick 2-year timeline, but I want to acknowledge that this isn't where the roadmap ends. This is just saying, hey, let's get excited for what's going to happen in the next couple of years. But there's a very long-term roadmap behind this of activities and interactions that are going to happen, hopefully well into our very long future and relationships that we have with our customers. But over the next couple of years, what I want to advise is where we're focused is really foundational. So I'm not going to leave here and you're not going to have a text message from me immediately. Well, maybe from me, but not from OPPD, right? It takes time. There's integrations and data that have to be built in order for us to do that. And so our focus is on foundational items. It may not be as visible as we'd like, but I want it to be visible because right now it's invisible to the public. They don't know that we're working on it. And so we're making that, Lisa, I'm coining your phrase, the invisible visible right now, right? So working on people and culture and building out our organization, providing them the training that they need. really diving into some strategic planning around our digital transformation. We know that we've made a commitment to AMI. Well, what can we do with that kind of data and information that's coming in, and how can we engage with our customers differently as a result of that? It's just very timely. We're also going to look, like I said, there's data integrations and enhancements. There's a lot that needs to happen with data within the organization for us to really know our customers. And it's not necessarily visible quite yet, but it will be visible in how we interact in the future. We did launch a new Voice of the District tool, but okay, now we need to use it, right? So we need to get some surveys going. We need to get some listening tools going. We need to be able to put this in multiple channels, right? So not just a traditional survey that goes out through email. While that is one really good channel, there's a lot of other ways to get the voice of our district. And so we need to begin building that out and having the dashboards behind the scenes that really tell us where we're making a difference and where we can improve on. And then lastly, something over the next couple of years that you'll see is just some messaging refinement, getting really clear with our customers about what we're trying to say. You know, yes, we're a utility, but we can make this easy for you. We can make this personal for you. And so we'll be looking at different delivery methods and channel management that we can do, as well as just how do we personalize and fine tune some of the messaging and wording that's actually coming out from us. So there's a lot to come after that, but like I said, those will be that'll be our focus just over the next couple of years. And so I close with the next slide, Erin, if you don't mind advancing forward, is, you know, illuminate this. And you've heard the campaign of, you know, illuminate our future. And so there's something to be excited about here. Illuminate this kind of future. Illuminate a future where our customers are our marketing team for us. They are our advocates. When we've got large decisions, when we've got big technology changes, when we have operational, how we're going to maybe work differently with our customers, perhaps policy changes, procedure changes, legislative changes, indirect competition, any of it, they're going to understand why we're making the decisions. They're going to feel part of those decisions. And even if there's a disagreement, like I said, they're going to trust us because we've built the relationship with them that they can trust us even when they're unsure. They're not meant to be, our public is not meant to be the utility expert. We are. So we can be that for them, but they are our customer, and customer is king, right? So we need to serve them in the way they want, and we need to make sure that we've captured their voice, that we've built that relationship with them, and that regardless of what comes in our near future, that we've got them as our number one best friend by our side. So with that, that's all I've got. We're closed and we're off to execution.
Thank you, Heather. Really, really exciting. And of course, the workforce, our employees are excited, and our customers should be even more excited because there's a lot of change coming and really good programs. So I really appreciate you walking us through that. Let's go to the next slide, please. I'll finish my presentation report by talking about public events. The Ralston Public Schools Vehicle Day. I love the picture on the left. It's a future line person, line men, line women. On April 14th, our OPPD's Veterans Wrapped truck was at the Ralston Public Schools for their Vehicle Day. The purpose was to educate students on the different vehicles in their community and how they're used. Students were able to interact with some of our line workers, actually touch our equipment, climb on the truck, and it's always a really fun event. One of our favorite events for our employees. There were approximately 260 students who attend the event. Next slide, please. This is very, very important. We have a privilege and responsibility to let our customer owners know that we're building for the future, their children's future, and even their grandchildren's future. And that begins by raising awareness that our service area and really our whole state is growing. I just mentioned a while ago the enormous capital program we have, and there's more to come. We are building a lot of things. We're building a lot of generation and transmission, distribution, updating our systems. And all of this is to power our beautiful state, to continue to support the life of Nebraskans the way they know it today and the way they haven't even began imagining it into the future. Beginning on Saturday, April 1st, we began a multimedia campaign that runs through the end of May. This campaign will call attention to the fact that our service area is growing and that OPPD is committed to powering it affordably, reliably, and sustainably. This billboard, for example, is just one image you may see among many, or you may hear media across our service area. Now, from May through the late fall, we will continue the campaign, but begin introducing more of the future-focused messages that comprise our 2050 vision. For the board's reference and information, the new pages on OPPD Community Connect focused on both our near-term generation needs and our 2050 vision went live on March 31st of 2023. And of course, members of the public can access that as well. We welcome questions and comments from the public through OPPD Community Connect. And again, in the coming weeks, you will see and hear more from myself and from the team about the growth, including on-air interviews, print ads, and more. I've said this before, and it's exciting and it's challenging at the same time. We've never grown the way we're growing today. The pace at which our service territory is demanding electric power has never been as fast, and the magnitude is gigantic. And all of this is exciting, but it requires attention and awareness from all of our service territory. Our customer owners will see, very likely will see construction happening in and around the service territory. We want them to know why we're doing that, and it's really to power our lives. Most customer owners may not think about it this way when they come home and they turn the lights on, and they may think, well, I'm still using the same amount of power. It's the same house. What are you talking about? I invite people to think about the ways in which their lives have been digitized. How many appliances, how many phones, computers you plug at night at home, when you use GPS to travel from one place to another, when you're depositing checks and doing financial transactions in your bank, when you're ordering groceries, when you're ordering different goods to be delivered to your home, when our customer owners who are watching tonight via WebEx, we are all using data. We have electrified our lives in a very significant way. And behind all of these amazing inventions, it's OPPD. It's electrons, it's power, it's reliable, affordable, and sustainable power that we are committed to delivering. One of the billboards that you may see, one of my favorites, it says, we are generating the power for things that haven't even been invented yet. And that's very true. It takes many years for us to build and generate all of this power, and the technological advancements are coming to us really fast. It's really exciting to think the work that we're doing today is going to power lives and things that we haven't even began imagining. Let's go to the next slide, please. Our Lineworkers Appreciation Day, just 2 days ago, April 18th, was Lineworkers Appreciation Day in Nebraska. That morning, while the rest of us and the board, we were having our public all committees meeting, some of our line workers were at the Capitol in Lincoln where they were honored and recognized by the legislature. Different members of the legislature were there. OPPD expresses its deep gratitude. I personally express my deep gratitude to all of our line workers, our line techs, troubleshooters, cable splicer, apprentices, crew leaders, and everybody else in that trade. We appreciate their toughness, hard work, and dedication to keeping the lights on for our customer owners. There's a saying that when the power goes down and the lights go down, our women and men go up to restore and to keep us powered. One way our line workers have shown their commitment to restoring power to people over the years is by traveling to other states to fulfill OPPD's mutual aid agreement to help other utilities after major storms, like other utilities do the same thing when we need their help. In addition, a team of line workers from OPPD competed in the American Public Power Association's annual Line Workers Rodeo a few weeks earlier. This was held the first weekend in April in Kansas City, Kansas, and just a lot of pride that our line workers take in their craft and doing their job safely. Last slide, I promise. It's been a long report. This is an in memoriam, a good reminder of the hazardous nature of the work we do. We have lost 18 employees during the life of OPPD in the line of duty, and John is one of them. John Broderick, substation operator. He died on June 22nd of 1953 after coming into contact with a 240-volt line in a substation near 18th and Grant Street in Omaha. He was only 30 years old and had been with OPPD for 7 years at the time of his death. He was survived by his wife, Shirley Ann, 2 daughters, Peggy Ann and Jacqueline Kay, and a son, John Thomas. And Chair Williams, with that, I conclude my president's report.
Great, appreciate that very much. Now we'll have an opportunity for comment on other items of district business. Do any members of the public in the room have a comment on other items of district business? If you would like to make a comment, please come to the podium. State your name, address, and any organization you represent.
Good evening, David Bagley, 4611 South 96th Street, customer owner. My first topic tonight, I think will be of particular interest to Directors Bogner and Howard. Typically, when new technology is adopted, engineers do demonstration projects. That's what Edison did with electricity. Before he electrified the country, he did it on a few blocks in New York City on Lower Pearl Street. Before Fort Calhoun Station was constructed, it began in 1966, the federal government had been building demonstration projects for decades, see if this nuclear power thing would work. And as Director Howard was remarking earlier this evening, that is prudence. So if we're going to do something really big, transform, how electricity is generated, good idea to have a demonstration project. Well, has this been done anywhere? Yes, it has. In the Canary Islands, on the island of El Hierro, population of 10,000, which I was surprised to see is bigger than Blair, Nebraska City, or Plattsmouth. The name of the project is called the Gorono del Vento. They have a website and everything. The goal was for self-sufficiency for electricity, 100% renewable energy. Again, in 2010, they had 5 massive wind turbines there, and then a large pumped storage water reservoir on the top of an extinct volcano. Don't have too many volcanoes around here, but in any event, they have not been able to generate even 50% of electricity from the wind. Now they're thinking about adding solar, but I don't think that'll work. So this demonstration project is a complete failure. They need diesel backup in order to avoid blackouts on this tiny island in the Canary Islands. So what we've got going on here is that wind and solar are inherently intermittent. We get this report every week or every month that shows 50% or less from wind. And so that's why your engineers force you to build your 2 new nat gas plants, because wind and solar just cannot power the grid. So
30 seconds.
Thank you. The solution is you're going to have storage. Now, E3 added in your plan the cost of storage, and it's going to cost you a fortune. Here, I've got this from Germany. They've been trying to achieve net zero for a long time. Here's from the German publication. I translated it for you. 88% of the German population does not think that it's realistic to have net zero. 88%.
That's time.
Thank you.
Does anyone else in the room have a comment? Okay. Do we have any members of the public on WebEx who have comments?
David Corbin.
David, go ahead and check your audio.
Hello?
Yeah, there you go. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. David Corbin, 1002 North 49th Street, representing the Nebraska Sierra Club. First of all, I want to say I'm looking forward to meeting with Mr. Fleener. I'm happy to hear about the $2,000 solar incentives and the energy efficiency incentives. And I'm hoping that perhaps OPPD would like to partner with the North Omaha organizations in applying for an EPA grant for greenhouse gas reduction grant for North Omaha, and maybe to help Nebraska to create their own green bank and join the 23 other green banks in the United States with the help of the Inflation Reduction Funding Act funding. I just heard yesterday, and it's not official yet, but it appears that the Nebraska Department of Environment and Energy will be requesting at least a large portion of the IRA. And when you put together what OPPD is doing, what the IRA funding is doing, the fact that Omaha has a climate action plan that's getting started, and you put those together and you have you work together in a cooperative way, then we can make a big dent in the amount of pollution and actually make public health better in the whole community. Thank you.
Thanks very much for your comment. Do we have other comments online?
John Pollock.
John Pollock, 1412 North 35th Street, Omaha. This is just a look at the weather mostly. We've had our severe weather for a while. Fortunately, most of it ended up fortunately for us, most of it ended up east and south of us. We're going into a kind of cool pattern for this time of the spring. Of course, with all the back and forth, it's hard to even know what normal is. Our normal high right now would be in the mid to upper 60s and the low in the low to mid 40s. But we're going to be running below normal probably mostly through the end of the month. We've got a northwest flow pattern, which kind of keeps the warm, moist Gulf air out of the area, makes us less susceptible to severe weather, although it's still possible to have thunderstorms, even with the kind of pattern we're in, to have occasional weather disturbances moving across. The main storm track will be to the south and west of us. Looks like we're going to have some kind of relaxation of that pattern and a return to more seasonal normals or even warmer than normal weather toward the beginning of May. It's not really possible to state after that, except that we're probably looking at reduced risk of severe weather and somewhat drier than normal the next couple of weeks. So that's about it for mine. I would still encourage OPPD, which has a lot of experience with dealing with the aftermath of wind events, to do more to let people in the area know what kinds of trees are durable around here, because this is a tree planting time of the year. Thank you. Bye now.
Thank you. We have additional comments online. Okay, final check in the room. And one more time online. Got everybody? Great, with that concludes our agenda and we are adjourned. Thank you.